I'll have to be honest with you. First thing I'm going to mention right up front is it's free. I like the service when it's free because, you know, you can tie up a lot of money in different services, and from experience I found out that sometimes you can pay a lot of money and you may not be getting that much out of it.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. It's August 21st, 2013. I'm Logan Burgess. Joining me to my right here is Cody Bills. Cody, let's jump into fire tip, see how the grains closed out the day here on a Wednesday. As you can see, quite a bit of strength across the boards, particularly for those old crop contracts. Looking at the new crop deliveries, though, we see corn up 7.5 cents, new crop beans picking up 12. Relatively more quiet day for the wheat complex. Chicago wheat up 4.5 cents. Kansas City wheat just up over a penny. Cody, what was kind of your take on the action that we saw here on a Wednesday?
Well, I think most of it was weather-driven. I think a lot of this market that we've seen moving off of the lows from last Monday is really, a lot of this is weather-driven. Obviously, the Monday report was very big. It was fundamental changer here for soybeans. But, you know, today I think it's a continuation of the weather story. We also had some news out from Pro Farmer. I think that contributed to it. Yeah. But take a look here at soybeans. You'll notice that we moved up to this resistance level, this trend line. We traded as high as 13.19 and ended up closing above 13, but really not by much. Up only at closing at 13.02 for that November contract. Just take a look at the way we traded throughout the day. We traded higher in the morning, and then we weren't able to sustain those gains, kind of moving out and closing out kind of near the lower side of the range here from most of the day's activity. Right. Bottom line here is I think that we're going to kind of pause here. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a resistance level. We kind of pause, we move sideways across, and maybe go through it.
Yeah, you know, taking a look at what the Pro Farmer crop scouts are finding out there, we did get a chance to take a look at some comments from Chip Flory, the editor of Pro Farmer today. Sound like they're seeing quite a bit of variability just in western Iowa on today's leg of the tour. And kind of the big takeaway that I saw was that he was estimating this crop's going to need just over an inch of rain per week here to maintain current yield levels. And obviously, you know, we talked about it yesterday. Looking at the outlook right now for much of the grain belt, that's really not in the cards right now. So I think that's why we've seen certainly a little bit of rally here for corn. In particular, looking at the soybean crop, he reported a very stunted crop, and really for two factors. Obviously, the crop got into the ground very late, but in general, we've had cool growing conditions as well. So those plants really haven't had the opportunity to accumulate the growing degree days that we've seen in past years. The big takeaway for him was that possibly soybeans is going to be the bigger story come this fall with respect to the corn crop, and that's certainly something that's been reflected here in the price action. Looking at that November soybean contract compared to D's 13 corn just in the last several weeks.
Yeah, and you know, we have some other items that came out today. We did have ethanol production, right. And then tomorrow we're going to have export sales. Do you have the estimates for those? Yeah,
looking at export sales, expecting a relatively quiet day in terms of old crop sales. Corn and soybean new crop sales are kind of going to be the big show in that report. The trade's expecting export sales of corn to approach 1 million bushels, and for soybeans looking for a pretty big export sales number, 1.3 to 1.7 million bushels. So that's kind of the expectations. We'll see if the sales actually are reported tomorrow. Just to touch on ethanol today, we did have ethanol production reported down for the week, 13,000 barrels per day. Not coming as a huge surprise because we have seen the ethanol crush margin back off a bit, now sitting about $2 per bushel. So that certainly didn't help the grain market move any higher here today, but I think the big story, as you said, Cody, remains on weather, remains on yield potential out of this budding crop.
And we're going to continue to monitor the weather, and of course we're also going to continue to monitor the export sales tomorrow morning, so pay attention to the GrainTV report. Thanks a lot for following us. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, give us a call at 877-472-4607.